Welcome to the Shadow Babies podcast, a romantasy, motherhood, life, ongoing discussion with two friends in town. Today we dive into part 1 of Iron Flame. Hello.
Hello. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Oh my gosh, 2025.
I know. Okay, so we're so close to January 21st, which is Tuesday.
Yes, I just got an email from Amazon being like, we are aware of your pre-order. It is going to come when it's supposed to.
Oh, so it gets delivered to your house on Tuesday?
Hopefully.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I hope so. Is yours coming directly to your Kindle?
Yeah, I was just probably going to buy it on that day on my Kindle.
Nice.
Is it nicer to the publisher or something? If you're I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure lots of people.
I mean, have you seen images of Rebecca Yarros' new home? It's beautiful.
No. Oh my God. I saw that she was an L. I was way to go,
I
Rebecca
know.
Yarros.
I'm so proud of her. She for Christmas, I think, took a picture of her Christmas tree, and it's in this gorgeous room with all of these French doors. And it looks like the room is a circle. It's yes, I hope you have a ballroom. You totally deserve that.
I know, dragon money.
Yes. Dragon money's the best money.
Well, okay, so we're busy reading.
Yes, this is part 1 of 2 of Iron Flame. So do you want to just start at the beginning, or do you have any general thoughts?
I do have some overarching general thoughts. Ooh, and I want your general thoughts
too.
Let's do that first, and then we can go kind of event by event.
Try to be linear in this very non-linear sequel.
Okay, so my quick take is in defense of Violet.
Okay.
I feel like a big theme in Iron Flame, and this is exactly how I felt when I first read it, is I was just so frustrated with her. Because I felt like she spends a lot of the time kind of complaining to Xaden about how he doesn't.
Yeah, she's pouting.
Yeah, she's mad. She's mad that he lied to her. It's just this constant fight, the same fight again and again. And it's no, I'm so happy in Fourth Wing that you guys got together. Keep getting together. Be in love. You guys are fighting the revolution. Yeah. I'm all caught up. We need to be anti-venin.
Yeah.
Why are you mad at your boyfriend?
Right.
But reading it, this is actually the first time I'm rereading Iron Flame. Do you read it again after you?
I think I reread it I can't remember now. I think I reread it immediately after, but that means I haven't read it since last summer.
Yeah.
So this is almost like a fresh reread, totally.
Yeah. Pretty fresh. I feel like this is the first time I'm starting to really get in more deeply into it, where I was just sort of rushing through to get into the adventure the first time I read it. But yeah, so I felt okay, this girl's whole life has turned upside down. It felt almost did you ever see the movie The Truman Show?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Big things.
It's a 90s movie with Jim Carrey where so he his whole world is fake.
Yes.
And that's kind of what her situation.
Yeah, and it's almost she walked into Rasan, where
I call it Ressin.
Yeah, I can't. She walked in and realized put everything together very quickly, but realized everybody knew everything and she didn't. And she probably felt really stupid.
Right. And her whole being is that of a scribe. And that's that's her whole personhood is I know the things. I'm very smart. I've spent all this time studying with my dad.
That's a great point.
Yeah. And now I was wrong the whole time.
Right.
And everybody, even my new boyfriend who I just had sex with, knew I was wrong and didn't tell me and kept me in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's a fair sense of betrayal the depth of what she feels is equivalent to the level of betrayal that occurs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And I feel it's not even Xaden sat her down and was oh my gosh, okay, listen, I need to explain to you what a venin is. I need to explain to you what me and all of my friends are doing with the Griffin riders. It was an accident that she came upon or the griffins came upon them and she witnessed it. And then also they were sent to crazy mission.
Right. As a part of war games.
Right. Where, she sees the wyvern and the venin and things like that. So it wasn't even like Xaden was like, I'm ready to tell you and I love you and I trust you. He would, and he didn't even say I love you. That was like a whole thing.
Cruel.
Yeah. So she's supposed to like completely undoubtedly trust him, even though he's been lying to her this whole time. And he says, I can't trust you yet, basically, because he's not ready to tell her everything.
Right.
She's just sort of part of the revolution, but isn't allowed to know everything about it.
Right.
He's the leader of it.
Right. Right. And like she's stuck because she now knows is not allowed to know everything. But it's not like Xaden is like, well, if you don't agree with not knowing everything, I'll just kill you. He can't kill her. He'll die. It just throws everything off. And deep down, he loves her. So it's like a very fraught situation.
Yeah. Yeah. Super fraught. And he's also like, don't tell any of your friends.
I know. I did not like that.
No.
And that was very like, younger girlfriend believing in the wisdom of her older boyfriend. Like, okay, Xaden said, if I can't lie effectively, I should just separate myself. And that's not good. I don't think his intention was to be maybe emotionally manipulative there or controlling, but it's like that's what the outcome was. And thank goodness for Imogen, my favorite, who was like, do what you need to do. Like, just because it works for Xaden doesn't mean it works for you or that you have to do what he says. Like, fuck him, even though he's the leader.
No, exactly. And that's so great that was included in the book because it did read toxic boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
Like scary, like emotionally abusive boyfriend, basically.
Yeah. Like,
so I totally get it.
Right. Yeah, that's so fair. Like gaslighting her a little bit into thinking like, of course, I mean, I trust you, of course, but you just have to deal with it. Like, why are you being crazy about that?
The trust that you have in others isn't good enough. It has to be people that I trust unconditionally, and I don't trust you to make the call that you could bring them in. Yeah, I just like feel for her. I feel like everyone was kind of complaining that she seems kind of like immature or, kind of complainy or having the same fight over and over. And I completely get it.
Right.
So, yeah, I was definitely a little bit more on Violet's side. On this reread.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like listening to you hear all of that or say all of that. Sorry. In that Violet is actually justified. And if she comes off as immature, girlfriend's 21, like she can't be perfect. And it's all muddled by her feelings for this person who isn't giving himself fully to her, but she doesn't know why. And yet she loves him. It's a very like high conflict place for her to be. So yeah, I'm with you.
All right. What was
my quick take?
Quick take.
Let's see. Yeah, I feel like this book was all about setting the stage. And I think that's why we were talking off mic earlier that like book 1 was so nice and linear, whereas book 2 is like multiple overlapping circles of concurrent things happening, and everything is connected, and you know where it's going, but like all of it has to happen at once and be a little more complicated. And so with all of that, it makes sense that there's a lot more like emotional messiness and that you get a little frustrated and dissatisfied with what the characters do because it's not clearly set out for them. Violet doesn't have all of the information. Whereas like in book 1, for her, all of the information was basically like the book of Brennan, right? Guiding her through her first year. The second year, she's like going in, knowing a little, but certainly not a lot. And then new things keep popping up that she didn't know that other people knew. So I think that wound of being like left out of the loop reopens over and over again. So it can't really heal. So they do end up having the same fight. On the other side, not to say like Xaden is justified in his behavior, but I did in this reread try to analyze him like I have done with the other ACOTAR characters, like he's gone through a lot in his 23 years. His father started a rebellion. His whole life was upended. His father was killed in front of him. He was basically given a deal. I'm sure he didn't have long to think of it, or he had to think of it himself. I can't remember, of taking on the 107 lives. Like, that's a big burden to take on as what was he, like 6 years ago? So he was 17.
Yeah, not even in the college yet.
Not even in the...
Yeah, didn't even fully understand what Basgiath was.
Right, but wanted to uphold some honor, and it demonstrates that he is a person with a very good heart, and he has the right intentions, but his circumstances have made him incredibly ruthless, understandably. It's like survive or be killed. And hopefully you survive, because there is a bigger picture out there that we all need to keep in perspective. And so I understand intellectually, and I respect who he has become. It maybe demonstrates the level of trauma he's undergone, that he can't trust Violet, even though he loves her. He even says he's forgotten what it feels like to be loved. So there's like a lot there for him too. We can have compassion for both sides. We don't have to take sides, right? So that's my take.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a very stressful book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there's a lot going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of miscommunication.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of secrets, a lot of lying, a lot of venin.
A lot of torture.
Yeah. A lot of violence.
Yes. It's very violent. And like, I couldn't even read the journal stealing experience. I kind of like skimmed it because I got so anxious. Yeah.
Oh my God. I completely forgot. We'll get there, but yeah, I forgot how they get caught.
Yes.
So I was like, wow, this all worked out so great.
I know. Not. Psych. Nolan is... I want to know why Nolan...
Freaking Nolan.
Yeah, like, why did he betray her?
Yeah, I know. In the first one, it's like, oh, Nolan is her friend. Well, he's a mentor.
She trusts him.
He's been with her whole life because she has... the need for him, and he knows her so well, and then and he flips on her.
Why did he do that?
And then who I also think might be secret bad, but isn't yet, unless it's in part 2 that I don't know.
Oh, what?
Nazia. Okay, so every time they're in the scribe quadrant,
oh yeah,
Justinia is always just around Nazia, who is, I think he's like...
asleep all the time.
He's asleep all the time. And I'm like, and then like, I feel like Yarros is like just dropping that he's, snoring. All of a sudden Nazia is over there snoring. Oh,
like,
Nazia's snoring. Is he? No, I think he's listening to everything.
Ooh, that's a good theory. And who do you, like, that he might be feeding information or like observations to maybe mark him? I feel like he's not as sleepy as we think. That's fair. That is fair. I don't know why I thought of this, but it's like, I just heard this phrase that made me laugh. Everywhere you go, there's a bozo. And I think she has... Rebecca Yarros has framed Nazia as the bozo, but he is not. No. He's a scribe for a reason.
Yeah.
We don't even know who he is or what his purpose is, but he's in there.
Yeah, he keeps getting mentioned, so I'm like, this guy.
Yeah. But no, doesn't go anywhere in the second part, but who knows if he makes an appearance in part 3.
You're amazing. Like, to say Nazia and then you're like, yes, the scribe who's sleepy. Like, how do you keep this on your head?
That's so funny. My friend Becca, who is a listener, by the way, hi Bex. She is like, so do you have like a spreadsheet with like all these notes and annotations? I'm like, no.
Well, we should.
It's in my head, but it's only because I'm very passionate about this. So my brain can organize all this stuff or keep it all. I wish I could do that for other things, but no. It's one of my party tricks.
We just started an outline.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. Very briefly chatted it through.
I mean, kicking it off in the book is great in the beginning because now all of a sudden we get to talk to Brennan for the first time.
Hello. Yeah. Way to come back from the dead.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like waking up from her whole ordeal and Brennan mended her. And so she's like coming to and all of a sudden getting to talk to like her resurrected brother.
Right. Well, it definitely makes sense too, just kind of compounding what you said, like in defense of Violet. Girlfriend has had to experience a lot of big things and then put them in her little box. And that box can only hold so much. So like, that's huge. It's a huge secret she's had to keep. She hasn't been able to process it. Like, it makes sense that maybe her emotions get misdirected or what. She may act immature or whatever, because it's like she's trying to hold a lot together and doesn't have as much support. She's not a rebellion relic holder. She's just her. So
yeah, she's almost like every time she talks to anybody in the rebellion, they like want to kill her because she's General Sorrengail's daughter.
Yes.
So they're like, oh, you can't be trusted. So like that whole team hates her.
Right. Except for the people that were at Athebine and they're being killed off.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And then Xaden, your boyfriend, is like, love you, but only, or not even I love you.
Yeah. Lies of omission.
Yes. Okay. The one thing that I did want to call out in the very beginning was I thought it was crazy how Violet explains to Brennan, who's been in the revolution, how many years?
6, right?
6. Okay, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
He's been in there for 6 years, and they are working through Venin Wyvern, and he doesn't know how Wyvern are created or controlled by the venin.
Right.
And she tells him that.
Right.
And he's like, oh, new information. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I think he tells her, like, there are no scribes in the revolution, which makes a lot of sense because all the scribes are...
They're corrupted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But looks like you need them because you have no idea what you're actually fighting.
Yeah. And yet, Jacinia, who becomes our ally later, she doesn't know either. So Violet is the only person with valid information. And it's all based on this little fable book that she thought wasn't real. Yeah, it's wild.
Okay, so then they're kind of deciding, should this crew from Athebine go back to Basquiat? Should they not? Should they stay here? And it's determined that they should go back for graduation.
Right.
Yeah.
I just remembered my thought.
Go.
Remember that the council in Eretia, they don't want Violet to go back.
Yeah.
They want to like keep her basically as a loose prisoner because she is the general's daughter and she's a risk because even though Xaden hasn't outright said, I love you, like to these older, wiser people, riders, they can see that she is his weakness, that he will literally throw the whole revolution down the toilet for her. And I find that interesting because they're thinking of her only as a risk to their cause and not as a benefit. Because if they did keep her and they were actually like, okay, we're going to let you in, she could have provided even more vital information, like you had said about telling Brennan how Wyvern are even created. So it's like missed opportunity, guys.
Super missed opportunity. And they don't even know about her lightning signet.
Right. And she could have been with a person who would have actually trained her appropriately instead of Professor Carr, who's a psychopath. Right. Anyway, I'm sorry. Yes. So they decide to go back.
Yeah. So they go back. They're reading the names on the roll. They read Xaden's name. He's there.
Yep. Well, this is awkward. And then, they basically create a plan. So the plan is they go in and they out Colonel Etos as the person who sent them to Athebine. And that it was basically, an obvious mission that would kill them all. And Violet wasn't supposed to go, but she did. And, by organizing, he was the one in charge of war games that year and was so boastful and proud, but then he put the general's daughter at risk, and that they actually saw real combat, and they obviously framed their battle to be with griffins, and not with the venin, but essentially created a modified story of what happened, that puts Colonel Etos in trouble, and he gets sent far, far away. and it's all hinging on whether or not General Sorrengail truly loves her daughter and was actually worried about her because she had no idea. And they hedged their bets correctly. So I think mercy was granted and they got to move on. That was it. Yeah.
But it kind of kicks off the whole, now this group is targeted.
Yes.
Because, it's like, griffins. So the people who know what's up.
Right.
Yeah, they know that they know.
Right.
It's like when you were saying the friends thing, it's so funny. We know that.
Now they know that we know that they know, but we don't know if they know we know they know we know.
Exactly. So now they all have targets.
Yes.
And Ito says that phrase.
Secrets die with the people who keep them.
But now it's like the beginning of the next year, essentially, because the new cadets are all coming in. Yeah. And Violet is looking out for Sloane, Liam's sister.
Yeah, and Sloane hates her.
Right.
Womp womp. Womp womp. I do like that. I like Violet's take. She's like, you don't have to like me, and I don't care about how you feel about me at all, but I promised your brother that I would keep you safe, so, like, stay alive. And, maybe it's because Sloane wasn't raised as a fighter and she kind of like gets everything through hearsay. And like you had said earlier, Violet is the general's daughter. So all of the rebellion kids hate her like on principle. So yeah, I was kind of annoyed with Sloane for most of the book.
I know. I was like bummed out that she was so weak.
Yeah.
Like Liam was like the very best fighter. Yeah, and then like Sloane was like not fostered in a similar family. So
let down.
Yeah. So it's like, not only are you really bad at fighting, but you also don't have a great attitude. Like, and we have to deal with this.
Right. It's kind of like the annoying little tag along there. Like, fine. I'll keep you under my wing.
But she has those letters from Liam as like leverage.
Yes. Yeah. That was ruthless. Which Imogen even was like, oh, I get it. I get why Xaden loves you.
Yeah, he figured it all out.
Yeah.
The other person that I got
Eric.
Yes, Eric.
Yeah, I want to know what's going to happen more with him.
Oh my God. I'm so excited about him. And the whole story and getting just like more of the king and the brothers and everything.
Yeah. I feel like in the next book we might meet the king, right?
I hope so.
You think it's going to come out? Or will it be more dragons and then the fourth book will be the king? Who knows?
There's only 5, right? So
yeah.
Woo! I'm excited. I can't believe it's next week.
I know.
I hope I have time to read it.
I know.
Well, it's like so annoying because you're going on a plane this weekend.
I know.
Like, wouldn't it have been so great
Amazing.
if it was out?
Yeah, like so annoying. Come on, world, like cater to my schedule, please.
Yes. I mean, reading a whole book on a plane is like, that's the chef's kiss.
It is. It is the best. And instead, I will be gifted this weekend away and then come back and kind of be like feeling guilty that I had the weekend. So I'll probably push the book off. So
yeah, now you have no time for yourself for like months and months.
I know. Now I'm going to go dark on social media so I have no spoilers at all. Yeah. I'm just surprised that like Cam/Eric can basically fly under the radar if he doesn't make eye contact with anybody because he has the like telling royal green eyes.
Oh my God.
And then he cut his hair short. He's like, yeah, shorter hair. Don't look him in the eye. They won't know that I'm a prince.
Yeah. I think it's after threshing with Eric when he does see Violet's mom. And I was surprised. I mean, I'm assuming that because Violet's mom ends up being kind of cool.
She does.
Yeah. But like, I'm assuming she just like let that go.
Probably.
But, yeah.
I think she lets a lot of things go.
Exactly. But I was surprised that Violet didn't, or that there was like nothing. You know how sometimes Violet's like, oh, there's like a flash before my mom's face or something. Like they grew up together.
Right.
Like, this is like a child in.
Yeah. Like Dane and Violet knew who he was immediately.
Yeah. Because they were friends with him.
Exactly. So I wonder if Violet's mom is going to be kind of like Dumbledore-esque, where she's dead earlier on, or like she dies before the finale, but like she sort of laid the trail for the revolution to succeed.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Or maybe the dad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's like instead of Dumbledore, we get 2. They get the parents.
That was another thing with Violet, of the whole like in defense of Violet, because she's also dealing with the fact that I think her dad knew about the venin too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a proven thing that her dad also knew. Yeah, so then...
But again, he doesn't even come out right and say it. Probably to protect her. But he has that little letter.
Yeah, but they had the whole scribe connection.
Yeah.
And then now that's all false.
Right.
And her dad's memory, I feel like, for her might be like a little bit tainted.
I
And like
wonder.
their relationship.
Yeah.
I thought about that a lot too for her.
Yeah. She even comes down on her mom and she's like, you don't even like the scribes. And she's like, please.
I know, that
the
was
love of my life was a scribe.
I
like,
loved
come
that.
on, Violet. You're smarter than this.
Okay, so then we meet Varish. Gross.
And Solus.
You know who he reminds me so much of?
I think I know who you're going to say.
Fifth Harry Potter book.
Oh, Umbridge?
Yeah.
I was thinking of the movie with Christopher Valls where he's the like crazy Nazi. It's a...
Oh,
You know who I'm talking about?
yeah, it's Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's who I feel like she must have modeled Varish off of, because he's like...
Always smiling.
He's smiley and oily and like perfectly coiffed and shiny, shiny shoes and just gives you the ick.
Look at you referencing a movie.
I know. That's probably... Oh my God, is it 20 years old?
Probably. That would have been like in
2005?
college. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Great job.
I feel old. But thank you.
I
Yeah.
referenced a movie from the 90s.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, like a rated R Umbridge.
Yeah, no, I, because it's like professors, and then there's like this like bad egg that all the other professors also kind of hate, but you have to deal with.
He's like planted there and like is reassigned there because he's basically tortured too many people on the lines to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, gross.
Which is why would they subject the students to him? I don't know.
Yeah, like this is where before I reread, I was like, maybe he's a venin.
I think he has had a venin connection though.
Yeah,
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I had that thought.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I just don't know why he's so evil.
Yeah.
He's just really into the lie.
Maybe. Do you think he's like controlled by one of the venin? Because aren't they infiltrated in Basgiath anyway?
I think that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I know there is that theory that there's mind control going on.
Yeah, yeah.
So potentially that.
Yeah. Like, what if he's not even that bad? He's just been made crazy and cruel and depraved by a venin. Well,
In this moment, when Varish is kind of introduced as a character, and we see Solus, and Tarn is like, oh my God, is Solus there?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, you know that something is going to happen with his orange dragon because he's saying that.
Yeah.
And everyone is like, wow, Solus, this orange dragon looks pretty unhinged
Yeah.
and a little crazy.
Yeah.
And I think someone says or mentions that it's a little weird for the rider to not be as unhinged, to look so kind of stoic and controlled, whereas they
tend to reflect each other.
Yeah, and the dragon's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe Varish is controlled by a venin.
Maybe. Yeah, because even Taryn was like, Solus chose really poorly. Like, he should not have given a human like him that much power.
Yeah. So really crazy, because then Solus just like blows up and burns up a ton of riders.
Like a whole section?
Yeah,
It's
and they're
terrible.
like bonded with dragons.
It's terrible. So did those dragons just die?
Right, like possibly.
It's
like
so sad.
So crazy.
Cruel.
I wondered why, because Tarn put Solus in his place.
Yeah, he took out his eye.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, why didn't anyone do it then?
This is in book 2, but it is a very grave offense for a dragon to kill another dragon.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't
get him by the neck again.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, who cares? He's too dangerous. He's a risk to the what is it? Risk to the whole, operation.
Yeah.
He's too unpredictable and
I mean, a lot of stuff goes on, but I think like the main things, like now we're getting into the challenges, and that's
right.
When the first assassination
On Violet, and poor Nadine gets killed.
Right, he just like comes over this first year and snaps her neck.
Yeah, well, because she pretends she's Violet. And it's like, wow, that was lucky and terribly unfortunate.
Okay, and this guy was a total venin.
Oh, yeah.
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 Because it's like red rimmed eyes. That's like the giveaway.
Right. Surging power through her body.
Yeah. But he's quoting Eidos.
Yes.
Because he says the quote again.
Yeah.
About,
So I think
secrets
Eidos has
die.
a venin.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Like, he's sending venin. You're in cahoots with a venin.
Yeah. Which is like why I fully get like you can't trust Dane. Why is Dane like totally out of the loop? Why is his dad not including him? Do you think maybe if there is a mind control component to this with the venin, that because Dane has like a mind work signet, he can't be like his shields are so strong that maybe he can't be controlled?
I mean, I love that. And a lot of times throughout this book, he is begging Violet to talk to him.
Right.
Like there is that moment where he even challenges her.
Yes.
Because he wants just time with Violet. And she thinks it's because he wants to grab her face and read her mind. But he's just like, no, you have to talk to me.
I have things to tell you.
Exactly. And she won't. And so maybe there is more that Dane wants to share or he just wants to really have her believe that they were the friends that they were from the beginning.
Yeah. She avoids him all the way through the second half too. And like
even after he's like joined.
Yeah. She like doesn't want anything to do with him.
During this whole time of like we're starting the new year, the new cadets and everything, Violet and Xaden are kind of in a long distance relationship.
Yes.
Because they can only go 2 weeks. I think that was 10 days or 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, they rotate every week. Like one of them flies.
Yes.
Each week.
Yeah. And so Xaden's stationed at Samara.
Super far.
Yeah. And then obviously Violet's here. So Xaden comes, the first time he comes, he writes her a letter.
Yeah.
Which is so cute.
So romantic.
Yeah. This is like the college boyfriend.
Yes. Absolutely. Even Imogen is like, he wrote you a letter? He's writing you letters? Who is this guy?
Yeah. And she like loves it.
Yeah.
And that's so cute. And that's like, okay, you're trying to win her trust back. You're trying to date again. Like you have to pass notes at this point because like you're long distance.
And they keep getting punished for whatever, being insubordinate or
like they're trying to keep them apart.
Exactly.
So yeah, they're not even like granted the time that they should have together. Like even if when she goes to Samar, when he comes over, they're always like, well, actually you're scheduled for this, so you can't even see him.
Yeah.
It's just the dragons can hang out.
Right. I do get that like this separation piece is like a plot driver, but I find it very curious that the Empyrean don't step in because even like Taryn, when he puts Solas and Varish in their place, he's like, nobody controls a dragon. Humans do not control a dragon. So I find it very interesting that Scale and Taryn allow this week-long separation.
I fully agree with that. That was very confusing to me reading this book, how much the dragons seem to go along with the army. And it's like, I mean, are you really in the human army? Like, yeah,
like what has happened? Like when will the Empyrean step in? And I guess maybe that will be coming up, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Exciting.
Yeah.
The time that Violet goes to Samara to see Xaden and Mira is there.
Yes.
And I really like that time because, Violet really gets to kind of relax because Mira is the only person who is like not in her family who's like not involved in this because she doesn't know about all the venin and everything.
Right.
And I think she does say like, Mira is the only person who loves me unconditionally enough, is not lying to me. Like, thank goodness.
I can trust her. And yet she has to lie to her, but tries to set the bread crumbs in front of her and is like, so wyvern?
Yeah. And she's like, oh, are you so tired?
Yeah,
like,
you must be so tired.
Yeah.
Such a big sister thing.
I was surprised that I just couldn't believe it and I was thinking about this like in college, if like I was gonna go I was like in a work college where I was gonna die any moment and I like was never supposed to leave, like she's not supposed to leave the college, like so it's really special that she's getting to go to these like
weekends away
to like see the battle line and whatever, and you get to see your sister and then her sister's like, okay, you're sleeping with me, right? And she was like, no, I'm gonna like be with my new boyfriend. I would be so mad if my sister did that. Like I would get it, but it would be so sad. Like if you picked your stupid new boyfriend over a weekend with your sister, like, and we never get to hang out and we might die at any time. Like that would bum me out so much. I love the time like the fact that they did get to go and like throw knives and
Yes.
like have some chats. But yeah, I definitely saw that and was like, oh my God, that would kill me.
Yeah. Possibly another toxic like boyfriend trait too, even though I love this shadow daddy, but it's like, because he like intercepts.
Yes.
Violet
yeah.
from-
He's like, if you want any time with me, he doesn't even tell her really that it's Mira.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's like, kiss me now. Just do it if you want time with me. And it is manipulative.
It is. It's like, because he wants time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's, yeah.
That was pretty crazy. Yeah. But it's like,
Selfish.
it really is like they're in this revolution. Everything's so crazy, but they like literally don't get any time to
Right.
talk ever.
Yeah.
So I guess I understand why Xaden would want the time, but yeah,
Yeah.
I would, I felt for the whole Mira situation.
Yeah, especially you have sisters, so you can like, you can feel what each sister is it going to experience.
I mean, I just think about like going to visit my sisters at their own colleges.
Right.
And if I went all the way up after like not seeing them for months and they
Yeah.
were like, I'm going to go hang out with my boyfriend,
Ugh.
I would die.
Can I say it is also a very like young person in love thing to do, especially as a woman, to like choose your boyfriend over your friends. I feel like that's a common theme.
Yeah. And it's like her new boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who she's also like super mad at. So it kind of doesn't make sense. But again, we do it for the plot.
Yeah. So then Varish, so when they're back at Basquiat,
Mm-hmm.
Violet is constantly rubbing up against Varish,
Yeah.
who has it out for her.
Right.
He kind of has it out for anyone in the Athabine
Right.
Resin situation.
Yeah.
So, and he's also super interested in
I
Andarna.
wonder why.
Yeah, the whole feather tail of it all.
Yeah.
And really wants to see her, so mad that Andarna is not coming to like practice.
Mm-hmm.
So takes it out on Violet and kind of tortures her.
Yeah. Which is again where it's like, hello, clearly the elders of the Empyrean could step in but they're choosing to burden Violet with the secret of, the secret life of Feathertails so that it doesn't come out that she bonded with a baby and that all of this stuff, again, all of this burden put on this young woman's shoulders for the sake of these big old crusty, like, people in charge and dragons in charge to keep their secrets and like hold their leverage. It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, and your mom is the general of it all?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
oh my God. Yeah, but wasn't it like if like a human could kind of overtake a feather tail, right?
They could take her gift. Gift. Yeah,
and
yeah.
she essentially said, like, can you imagine if someone like Varish
Right.
bonded with a feather tail? Like, that's
Exactly.
what we're worried about here.
Yeah. And that's fair. It's like she's, choosing the greater good and the safety of babies, basically. Who would not choose the safety of babies above all else?
Yeah.
I love Rhiannon. Like, the girlfriends of this book are so solid. Like, I love that Rhiannon knows, like, she's smart. Violet is clearly isolating herself and keeping her distance and like being secretive, and she knows something is up, but she doesn't push it. And I really appreciate that. Like, I know we've talked about in the past how I admire these examples of like good friends and like what they do and how they treat each other. And this is just another one of those examples. Like, Rhiannon is ride or die, but she's also not going to push. And I feel like that's kind of funny in the setting of Violet, who's like pushing as hard as she can to get Xaden to open up and like holding that against him. Whereas Rhiannon is like, I know there's more. I'm not going to push you because I know you've gone through a lot, but I'm here. And so they're almost juxtaposed because it's like Violet could do that. And maybe if she did that with Xaden, he could feel safe and soften and open up to her. But she's meeting his hardness with hardness, and they're both being stubborn. And so I really like this example of what it is to recognize someone's not ready to share something, or someone isn't ready to fully open up to you, and you don't hold it against them. You just allow and hold space.
Absolutely. And I love how, I think you had just said this, but Rhiannon is always noticing the things about Violet. Like, it looks like you're having a really hard time, or like, why are you running with Imogen? Like, this is not like you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, like we never get to see you on the weekends because you're always off everywhere. Like, we miss you.
Right.
And then, I just loved it when she was able to finally come clean.
Yes, me too.
The friends. Yeah, and it's like a huge weight gets lifted off her shoulders.
Yes.
She can finally like laugh and talk to them.
Yes.
And they're fully there for her.
Yes. I love that they like hear the crazy story and then all three of them are like, how do we help? What do we do? Yes, we're in. Like, these are the friends. Well, clearly going through the first year of the war college, like, these are the people that you will live and die by. So, like, their bond is super tight. But I love that even though she was keeping these secrets with the intention of trying to keep them safe, they, again, don't hold it against her. They're not mad at her the whole book, being like, well, you didn't tell me, so now you don't get my friendship. Like, again, it's a juxtaposition, right? And maybe romantic relationships seem to have these perceptions of higher stakes, but at the end of the day, you want to be best friends with your lover too. So there has to be some give and take.
Just like Rhiannon had like calls out the fact that Violet's getting like bullied by Varish, and it's like, we can help you. Like, let us help you in these situations. Right. So you're not alone. Yeah. You have like a safety net.
Yeah. Love that.
I guess before we get to like everything that comes into the end, there's also like the Jack Barlow of it all.
Jack fucking Barlow.
And Nolan is involved in that too.
Yeah. It's interesting. So again, in the like little blurbs above the chapters, did you notice the one where it was like, essentially, a soul cannot be mended. However, so the only thing we can resort to is control. And so like Jack Barlow is all like kind and helpful and friendly. Who is controlling him? How are they controlling him? And like, is that a key to like overcoming some of the venin infiltration? I don't know.
Ooh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Just like that poison.
That's a messed up.
Like the weird drink that they said is new this year.
Yeah.
That can like take away your, like dull your magic, like break off your bond from your dragons. You can't talk to them.
Right. Who are these people making these things?
Yeah. And it does, you just said control, and it is such a method of control. Like, why do they need to control them so much?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe it is a little bit of like, maybe the dragons are getting a little fed up. Maybe they are getting a little restless and being like, you guys are pushing the limit here. And so at the end of the day, humans want to control other humans. So to cut them off from their source of power makes the most sense, right? To disempower them.
Yeah. Ugh.
But I guess that would then potentially imply that some sector of the healer quadrant is shady. Because where are they getting these mixtures, right?
Yes.
Right.
Well, yeah. Like, so Nolan has been healing Jack Barlow somehow. Yeah. So knew he was a venin and is trying to like work on that.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense. A little weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't know he's a venin. It was like he knew he almost died.
But he knows he's mending his soul.
Yeah, so he knows he's a venin.
So they already know that to be a venin is to corrupt your soul. But again, why keep him alive? Probably to see if they can flip the script and control the venin instead of being overtaken by them, right?
Yeah. It's just like this whole book is like Violet quickly realizing that she's fighting on the side of the bad guys.
Right. She's been duped her whole life. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this is not a good army.
No. And like Navarre and its propaganda has painted, its government to be benevolent and powerful, and painting the griffins and the other kingdoms of like Poromiel and I forgot the other one. El Tufal? No, I think that's a town. But
there's so many names.
One
of them is like Montserrat. I'm like, is that a font?
Yeah. I was thinking as I was reading this and just reading fantasy in general, like, how do these authors come up with so many different names?
Yeah.
Some are similar, like griffin, wyvern, dragon, whatever, those lore things. But like, unique names for places and people. That's a lot.
It's a lot. I mean, I didn't know that it was Gaelic. You had told me that, and then I saw that.
I loved the reel that you sent me.
Yeah, that was so cool about like what the dragon's actual, like what the Gaelic name is, how to pronounce it, which was helpful.
Yes.
And then, because I had none of those, right?
No.
And then what they mean, which felt like a lot of clues.
Yes, very big clues. It's interesting.
Yeah. So I guess it's like rooted in a language. And I feel like J.K. Rowling did that too. Like it was like Latin or.
Yeah, like exactly. Like Remus Lupin.
Yeah.
Remus, the Raised by Wolves.
Which was kind of fun reading as a kid. Because, like a lot of them were like a little bit more obvious because it's like for younger readers. So I remember being like, I'm figuring this out as an 11-year-old.
Exactly. You feel like you're doing a little sleuthing as you read. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah. So there is another assassination attempt on
Violet.
Yeah. And then Jack Barlow is the one who saves her, which is wild.
Yeah. I know. And she's even like, what happened to you? And he's like, I guess my second chance just changed things, which I'm very curious if the gods are real and if they're going to come into play at some point.
I really like that theory.
Right? Like, who is Dun? I don't remember what she's the goddess of. Luck and Malek, clearly the god of death. Like, why do they believe in these deities? Who are they? Where do they come from? How much power do they actually have? And why do the humans worship them?
Yeah. Well, don't the dragons say they don't believe in them?
Right.
Yeah.
Puny gods.
Yeah. I love that though.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I see.
Okay, so then, well, I liked also the second assassination attempt because I think at that point her friends all knew what was going on. So she now she's like having a second attempt at getting killed. It really almost happened.
Yes.
Like someone that you killed who's like your arch nemesis saves you.
Yes.
It's also heavy. So thank goodness. Like
she has somebody to.
You could tell Rhiannon.
Yeah. And Riddick was there.
Riddick and Sawyer. Yeah, Riddick was there.
Yeah, he was like, whoa, what happened? Yeah.
Yeah, so like friends, thank goodness.
Yes, you need your friends.
Yeah, so then like now that she tells her friends, they can kind of come together and start like plotting what they want to do because she's been working with Jacinia this whole time to get more information from the books and try to figure this out.
Right. It is so fascinating. I mean, it makes sense, her line of thinking, like, okay, how I can't help in the way that Xaden is acting in the revolution because he's not letting me in all the way. So her smart brain realizes the only thing I can do is figure out how to raise wards, and clearly no literature out there in the archives is going to give me what I'm looking for, except for a firsthand account, and like that the journals are the only way. I think that's such an interesting way of getting there, and also like demonstrating like what a good researcher is and like just how smart she is, how thorough she is.
Okay, so I also loved pulling Eric into their whole plot too.
Yes, I want more of that relationship to unfold, or not relationship, and nemesis type thing between Xaden and Eric. Like
he killed Alec.
Yes, but apparently Alec was like
the worst,
depraved. Yeah, and like almost got Garrick killed. So
okay, so that was wild. Okay, so we've pulled Eric in. Xaden is so mad because Justinia's pulled in. All your friends are here. Now we've got Eric, who I don't like. That king's son is like involved in like the rebellion. Yeah. And Eric tells Violet like Xaden killed Alec during threshing. And I just don't understand how Xaden has survived.
Yeah, he
like
is.
You killed the king's son and you're like the son of the revolutionary leader.
Yeah.
How are you still alive in this like everyone dies war college?
I know. It makes me wonder if like you know, even though it's a secret second signet, if he's like worked on it in such a way that he can like really manipulate people.
That's smart.
Violet does like observe how charismatic he is and compares him as a wing leader to Dane when Dane is a wing leader. And like Xaden has this gift of like getting people on his side. So I think that might be some of it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I love Eric coming back and being such a big part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I also loved?
What?
So I think the plan is they need Eric to basically get them into the secret part of the scribe.
Right. There are wards that only a blood relative,
royal,
like a direct descendant of the king, can go through.
Yeah. And so they're chatting with Jacinia, and Eric signs with Jacinia.
I love that.
I love that.
I love that signing is like common in the book, that almost everybody, except for Sawyer, who has the thing for her, knows how to sign.
Everybody does. I had only noticed Eric. Oh my gosh. I love that.
Liam can sign. Xaden can sign.
That's fantastic.
Isn't it?
Because otherwise Jacinia would be so left out of so many conversations.
It just demonstrates. I like how, Rebecca Yarros has these characters in her books that are, technically marginalized. Deaf people who sign, someone who has hypermobility disorder, and they're like the baddest of all badasses in the books.
Yeah, and the Violet is, that's her superpower.
Yeah.
Like how she got through the torture scenes and things like that, because she's like so used to pain. And
she's like, yep, dislocated my shoulder, just another Tuesday.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love that it's not just like, oh, a throwaway kind of, like she really thought about like how this person would communicate and kind of walk through this world.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Okay, so you skipped this part because it was so stressful.
I did. I didn't like that they got caught. I just didn't want, it was like I could feel the high stakes of it all, with like the plan having to change. Only 4 of them could go in. And so like they don't have Rhiannon, they don't have Sawyer, they don't have Quinn, although Quinn I guess was astrally projecting, but like it made it even more like, oh my God, they're barely going to make it. And then I know what's happening next is Violet gets taken and tortured.
Yeah. It was so like, I totally forgot how she gets taken. I remember that she does get captured and is tortured. I thought that was part of the
RSC.
Yes, like the school thing. So
Yeah.
I forgot that it's because, oh no, you like did something really bad.
Yeah.
So then when she gets out and she's like, everything is amazing. I'm so happy. Here's like my Xaden boyfriend. We're going to make out.
Yeah.
And then,
and like, here's Nolan with my favorite lemonade.
Exactly.
Psych.
It was like chilling what he said to her.
I know.
Like you're putting everybody at risk or something.
I know. It's wild. Makes me wonder, like, I hope we get to meet Nolan again, because I want to understand his motivations for keeping Navarre closed off and for allowing the venin to just keep taking other parts of the continent. Because what do they think is going to happen? They're just going to be like, oh, everybody else can die, but we're fine behind our wards. Clearly not. The venin have been able to infiltrate, so you're not as safe as you think you are, and you're just letting all of these innocent people die, and you're keeping the secret from all of your citizens. So
yeah, and isn't it like the venin are specifically interested in the hatching grounds of the dragon because it will like give them the power that they most desire.
Right, like it would feed them for centuries.
Yeah. It's like, oh, they won't.
Yeah,
they would.
Human error and pride.
Wouldn't dare.
Yes.
Okay, so Violet. Oh, sorry. Violet's escape epic.
Yes, huge. And I love that at the end of it, it's like the two, other than her father, like the 2 most important men in her life at that point, like Dane, who is her oldest and best friend, and Xaden, and they both have a moment with her, and then her moment with her mom, who is such a hard ass, but like I admire that exchange a lot.
I loved the mom exchange because we had talked about, okay, so the mom is kind of explaining everything and why she put Violet in the writer's quadrant versus the scribe quadrant.
Yes, that was a really good.
Yeah, so interesting. Like we still don't know if there was a point of like why she made this decision, but basically it was because she thought that Violet would figure it out in the scribe quadrant and then figure it all out, and they would kill her.
Yeah.
So the only, and you knew this,
Yes.
the only reason that she is in the writer's quadrant is because she thought she would have a better chance of surviving than in the scribe's quadrant.
Yeah.
Which is where Dane kept trying to push her because he thought that she
would be safer there.
Yeah.
Which clearly emphasizes that he really didn't know.
He really didn't know.
He knew
exactly.
nothing.
Yeah.
Poor man.
Oh, so
Everywhere you go, there's a bozo. No.
I feel a little bad about all my Dane bashing.
I know. He's a good. I think in the end he's good. I just don't agree with him being endgame. I know there are theories out there about Xaden is actually the bad guy and that Violet and Dane are endgame. No.
You know, I can kind of see it.
No.
I honestly no, I don't really believe in it either, and I like Xaden and they're so cool, but we've talked a lot about how Xaden is kind of toxic energy, isolating her from her friends.
Right.
Yeah, and Dane was always really nice.
I know. I mean, she even calls Xaden out. She's like, "Do you know who you sound like? Dane, get out of my face." So I do think, yes, there is toxic masculinity in Xaden. He is an asshole. Or in Sarah J. Maas's terms, an alpha hole who becomes overprotective and a little psychotic when it comes to the woman he loves. But hopefully, since we're only in book 2 at this point, there will be an evolution of their relationship, and both will mature, and both will begin to trust each other.
There has to be some growth.
Yeah. She wouldn't. I don't know. She wouldn't have laid it down this early, I feel, Rebecca Yarros, if this wasn't the path that it was going to be. But I also, from what I understand, she's also someone who's going to give us some tricks.
You think so?
Well, I hope. I don't know.
I feel like I saw a interview with Rebecca Yarros where someone straight up asked her if it was going to be the whole race in of it all. Yeah. And she was like, "I am not Sarah J. Maas." Sarah J.
love that.
Yeah. So probably not.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but I see it because Xaden does some bad stuff.
Yeah, he doesn't hide that from her. He's like, "I am not kind. I am not soft. I am not romantic. I am not anything. I'm not a boyfriend. Don't fall in love with me. I am ruthless. I am a survivor. I am not lying to you about who I am, and I'm not going to let you know who I am fully." He lays it out pretty early. But having been someone who has fallen in love with a person very similar to that in real life, you still dupe yourself. You still think, but for me, he's going to fall in love with me, and it's going to be different. He's going to open up to me and all of that stuff. Maybe Xaden will break the mold, but maybe he won't.
I feel does he start in this book, though? Does he start to... he does let her let the friends in, which is nice. He
resigns himself, because I think his inclination is to isolate himself. He's a shadow daddy who can read other people's intentions so he can know whether or not to trust them. He clearly would rather be a solo agent and be completely in charge and in control of everything. And Violet is breaking open all of those, deep-seated traits in him. And he probably feels very out of control. He's very uncomfortable. So, but he's letting it happen. So I don't know. It does also lay the groundwork for his evolution.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Good one.
Ooh, thanks. I'm liking this, though. This is fun. This has been very dishy.
Yeah, so we're going to read part 2.
Yes.
We're going to come back.
Yep. A lot is happening in part 2, and it's technically, I think, a little shorter than part 1. So
I'm excited about part 2.
Me too.
Yeah, way more happens at the end, which is crazy.
I need to read that way more slowly, because I flew through it trying to just make sure everybody survived.